My energy, ecliptic, loves circle self love, best love, world love. You knows my honor. Greetings, that be your host, James Peter BasTiEn. In peace, prosperity, power. It is my honor to share my affirmations, visualizations, and unison manifestations in all satisfaction. The mind, body, and soul is to grow in all facets. Presented in procreation, this is MB19 podcast show. May you be at peace in whatever the action is proclaiming. Ascending the greatest of all satisfaction, like your goals a bullseye, your actions the dart. Believe in you no matter the ending or the start. For your life, such precious life, must you claim it. I finally learned and I finally was guided towards my religion. My religion is love. Title of today's episode, My Religion is Love. Experiences is the sole conductor of what we recognize to be as reality by truth or reality by lies. Within my experiences, I'm so grateful and thankful that my life was not steered in one particular side. My life was not geared in one particular look, that I was able to learn from people, places, and things because my life was cultivated in those differences. Among my geographical location, I was born in the country of America. A couple months old, I was sent back to my biological parents' native country, IET, known to the Americans as Haiti, which kept me there till I was roughly about 8 years old. Uh, Within that beginning, upraising, the differences of obviously separated from my biological parents, or not separated, but the choice was given from my biological mother to do that. But I say that in the same instance from a location perspective of having those differences. From my upraising came the differences of the village of people I now know and so appreciative of those villages of people that helped so wholeheartedly with my upraising. Um, the diversity amongst the sort of people that's labeled as friends or family, it comes with the parallel of multi-dimension amongst what's meaningful to someone as compared to what is not. So I express these in a dialect idealization of diversity being my ultimately, I would say, looking back into every notion of my experiences. My birth parents has been diversity. My understanding has been change, right? Diversity of my ability uh, to multitask or have that versatility within me in my demeanor or charisma, but also being aware fully whether it's a joyful moment or whatnot that change is inevitable. So effectively, that's what I know. That's what I'm used to that factor. It's like for me, as a writer, as a speaker, as a lover, as a creator, um, the moments of silence are so peaceful for me. The moments of silence are so knowledgeable. For me, taking a moment of silence, or taking a moment, I guess you can say, from silence, a moment to think or so on. It I don't know. It just replenishes my soul because it's so much I can discuss in this regard. In regards to, again, why I titled today's episode "My Religion Is Love," but a couple of the different things I want to decode among that is that I think, you know what, I'm gonna start off with this idealization first because I think it's very very key to discuss this. In my experience of living, in my experience of understanding differences by people, places, and things, you learn people joy for the most part when it comes to camaraderie. Jesus Lord, I don't know, did I say that right? Camaraderie with other folks, right? It comes to this union idealization that we have common interests, or we share the same idealization. Long story short, we share the same belief. So, what a beautiful! This is such a beautiful conversation. Um, yeah. So you learn that naturally, as humans, we we thrive, or we at least yearn the idealization of being a part of something. Being a part of groups, being a part of team. However you want to notion it, whether it's nation, a culture, having something to say. This is my clan. You know what I mean? And then what happened with the idealization, once somebody gets to become a part of something, so on and so forth, it becomes a particular way of doing. It's the way we sound. It's the way we dress. It's the way we, you know what I'm saying, we talk. It's the way what we eat, how we eat. So naturally, within the groupings, does does a group does what is normally intended for, which is to separate itself from everything else, or its surrounding, right? And I had such a beautiful, beautiful conversation yesterday, and it happens to me more than I know is going to happen, or it happens to me the more that I grow, and the more that I understand difference. I have beautiful conversation with those who are different, indifferent to my perspective, indifferent to my views, or dare I say again the word belief, right? But again, we can still cultivate the similarity that we all share. So I wanted to decode that idealization, that why we as humans have such a yearning for groups, right, and so on and so forth. And naturally, you learn that majority of people that looking for such, they feel lost. They feel that they haven't found their calling and so on, right? Where for most people, the easiest thing is to follow what is said to do, because the hardest thing now is to go through your own trial and tribulation and configure what is best for you, right? The duality of life can make decision making simple, right? Because in duality, for most people, one side is good and the other side is bad. So as your mind virtue to a decision making where you're indecisive. Majority of the time, your indecision go into a decision that your surrounding by people, placing and things says to be as to be correct, right? Because your decision making, either you're too fearful to make it on your own and figure out whether you succeeded right away or you failed right away, but you learn, right, which is your ultimate success. Um, so yeah, within those platforms, it's so many different. I guess you can say the term persuasion that goes into your idealization. But what kills me with that is if you realize within all the examples that I've been given is that as much people want to find something is more to be defined in that something. Um, the reason why I say that is that why isn't that any why is it that religious people are different? Why is that? Like, think about it, right? It's very simple to say, hey, this person not religious, like from the perspective they don't believe in God, they don't believe, right? They don't believe. But between somebody that's Christian, that's Baptist, that's Judaism, Buddhism, why do they all believe, but they all have a certain characteristic of belief, certain characteristic of doing by fooding, by clothing, that says that if it's not a part of that characteristic, then you're not a part of this exact belief. So it made me talk, it made me thought about this for a while, and I can't tell you that this is a new state of mind for me, but the conversation that I had with this goddess, who is pretty much a mother to all men and women, who's pretty much a grandmother to all men and women, because her energy was presented in the idealization. Her energy was presented that like she's not also just a melanin people grandmother, right? But she's a grandmother or a mother for all humanity. And that reasoning itself to me is why I've always enabled, incapable, should I say, incapable to connect with religion. You know, because like I expressed, for me in the beginning, it was the scarcity of why is God have such a dominant energy in my life, but the dominance is not positive, but it's more negative. Like I'm fearful of him, right? I'm scared of this God, right? So it didn't connect with me from that perspective, and also I saw what one person would say and do, right, when they're not in church, as compared what they would say and do if they were in church, like total opposite, right? So I also saw the differences of the battles and the fighting of words. Like, oh, God said this, he didn't say that. Or Jesus said this and did this, but he didn't do this or do that. The wham and the bam, you know what I'm saying? Like the egotistical trials of the human errors, I feel like religion does very well in capturing that person's mind or imagination as to think like this is what your life is centered around, right? It's like it's like for some people, the Bible itself is the sponge that is their brain, and the more that they learn or hear from other people, is the more that they can soak in this idealization to be more for themselves, which is okay from that perspective. Because again, knowing my religion, I don't fight anybody else about their religion. This was one of the most beautiful souls that I ever met because she was the first soul who moved as a Christian from her own idealization, like, hey, this is my personal views. This is my personal upraising. From everything else in life, this is what I felt or I feel connected towards with more. But however, I won't be naive in the idealization that beautiful people are beautiful people, right? And people are people based upon certain circumstances. Some people don't have the ability to get uh, a great awakening in the beginning of their life to where they can comprehend diversity, right? If some people are raised to do this and do that, and that whenever they see this or see that, that it means this or that. Like they're not raised to comprehend that days are different. For example, if somebody treats you or they had a bad day and they had anger in their face, then that means for them, every day is that person. You know what I'm saying? So upon your upraising, alternates your view of what this life can be or do for you. So for me, her her greatness I love so much because it was one of those things like we met at love. We met at love. And I think a lot of us don't have that opportunity to find that, to where you know yourself enough to no matter what else somebody else is doing that may be different and so on and so forth, you can still find love and mutuality. Our skin were beautiful, not because it was the same melanin tone, but because we're humans and we have skin. Our hairs are beautiful, not because me and her share the same type of texture, but again, we're humans. We have hair. So the idealization of what we could compare is that we both carry emotions. The idealization of similarity is that we both are living an experience of like, hey, my first day of birth, I couldn't walk, I couldn't, talk. We were infants, we were newborns into the society. And every day and so on and so forth by good people and great things, we're able to enhance our body and maturate to this lifestyle. I didn't understand how much religion was. I understood, but I didn't understand somewhere, if that makes sense. Like, because for a lot of people in spirituality, I think their fight against religion is that idealization that for them, for the majority of the time, it's either a hypocritical state where religion was passed down to them, where like they saw people do it, but they didn't have that respect for the actions of what people were going to church, but again doing the other out of church, right? You have that factor of like feeling like it's fake because there's this narrative of like we look or we talk or we eat like this, depending on what that religion may be. That for most people that gets in tune with this idealization of I'm spiritual, I'm not religion, right? It's because you know there's a source of a higher power, but you feel neglected amongst how the education of such higher power was governed through either any religion or biblical aspect of how that was taught, right? So you get into that realm of my spirituality is going to be different, right? It's going to be a natural cause, right? But then for those obviously in this day and age modern state of spirituality, I don't define by it because again, it's the same perspective, right? The imagery of natural, the fooding or plant-based or I'm vegan, I mean I'm better, it categorized the same format as religion, right? Because you were lost and you wanted to find some things of similarity of people that eat and talk like you became exactly what you hated. Somebody who's judging the world for what it is because you view yourself as different from the world, right? So with that notion, you have so many. How can I say this? You have so many people going in their doubts in their minds amongst what they should be doing because it's control on the outskirts. or what somebody else said to do or to be. So how could we ever find that power, right? How could you find the inevitable reasoning that you can make amongst that balance that you're living, right? You're experiencing a world that's fueled with so many things that you can't control. Sometimes it's by the divine calling of nature, from the aspect of what sort of whether we get, you know what I'm saying, to the humans at times that may have more what is called to be power amongst other people by either resources, right, that it can do on and so forth. That can be a negative or malicious view for you, right? So there's a lot of ways that we don't have the ability to control those things, right? But what I found is that within my knowledge, and like I was saying, expressing that conversation that I had with that beautiful goddess yesterday, is that if you can find that middle ground, which is respect, you know what I'm saying, finding the ability to understand yourself, understanding where you could learn more from somebody else's views, that gives a balance in understanding each other. I don't, my thing is like this, right? I think the more, for most people, they look into this world as like a definite, like they want a definite for everything, like a yes or no. I think the more it hinders that person to actually live and experience life where it's not, can I say, experience life where it's not like, wow, it's a beautiful word that I can't find. But it's almost in the explanation of experiencing life where you're limited to how good or great such experience could be because you already set an expectation of like, or based on your by your surrounding or you, right? That's like, oh, it's this only could be as that. Or I've met people with this personality or so on and so forth. They always make me feel like this, right? So a lot of time we limit or hinder our own success by the expectation that we mentally derail within our mind frame, right? So for me, most people that grew up religious, that grew up with a certain perspective, view or belief system, grow up naturally. How can I say, not shunning, but naturally you're blocking the ability to connect more with other people, the ability to connect more with your brain, the ability to connect more with your spirit amongst those abilities that you may never know you have because you never sat sat down with those thoughts process, right? Because there was never something like it's like a box of Pandora that you never would ever know about it because it was never studied, it was never researched upon, right? It's like I didn't even know this door exists. And sometimes for a lot of us we have unhidden talent because we don't open up that brain, we don't open up our mental state of what our capabilities or incapabilities. Like we're not gonna challenge us to be better. You know what I mean? So the conversation for me as well was so beautiful because I'm talking to a goddess who's more older than me who went through civil rights, right? She's in her late 80s, where like she had such a beautiful mind despite how ugly, I mean ugly, like if I could complain how ugly the world is, right? Could you imagine her time where she had to deal with white men looking at her sideways or calling her name, or white girls like wanting to be friends with her, so on, but they can't show it because, like, hey, we're not supposed to. Maybe the white boy or the white girl want to be her friend, but they can't show it because, again, that's not how the society is played. You know what I'm saying? So imagine how strong you gotta be as a spirit, as a soul, as a flesh to balance this hateful world and still you prevail positivity. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the strength for me to understand my religion is love, because we're all living, we're all experiencing, and I think for the fickle of most people in this lifetime, we live in a pretentious state of wanting to showcase everybody else what our life is based on what we want to show them that our life is, but in reality, majority of people are not living or showcasing the true life of theirs, right? Their true happiness. Reality, most people get their careers, their everything else is for the showcasing to someone else rather than the happiness of themselves. And that's just really how we're taught. We're taught to please others before we please ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That's just a society mental issue of that. Because the most beautiful thing that you can ever really gain in your knowledge is to gain the ability of understanding or understanding energy within everyone. Every human, everything in this society, in this lifetime, I won't say in this society, not the material aspect of things, but mentalism itself is energy, right? Um, so the human race itself, we're built with that energy force. So going off that, I'm just telling you that if you're a person that's prejudiced to your own skin color or your own people, like me, for example, I'm Haitian. If I tell you that no Haitian is a bad person, all Haitian are great. There's no Haitian that think devils, that thinks that there's no Haitian that thinks demons. There's no Haitian that wish upon killing other people. There's no Haitian that's stealing right now, robbing right now. Robbing is still the same thing. Stupid. There's no Haitian that's raping their own women right now, right? If I can go off to that perspective, then I personally can tell you about a religion or a human race that's the best race. But in reality, nobody can say or do that. But in reality, when you think about it, that's what we do. You know, every. I mean, I can't speak on everybody, but majority of humans, that's what we do. We're prejudiced. We're prejudiced to our skin. We're prejudiced to our culture, our land. You know what I'm saying? This is better than that. That's what we do constantly. Put that one down to lift this one up. That's the reality of it. So we can't hide that fact. We cannot hide that fact that hate is what fueled this world. It really does. It really does. More people are malicious towards each other because they feel the idealization of being a happy person gets you fucked up. I want to say fucked up, but get you nice guy from this last aspect. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why give you know what I'm saying, love when it seemingly seems to cost you too much. You know what I'm saying? Like positive and negative is in all people. Good and bad is in all people. Having a mindset that sterilizes people by geographical location or skin tone and so on and so forth is not, it's naive. You know what I'm saying? It's biased. It's biased. And for me, what grabs this conversation is that I'm learning, and I've gained the ability and power by my knowledge to say that. I can admit religion to me has, for the warfares that is brought into life, whether it's racial, sexual, financial wars, like egotistical war, most of it comes from that depth of what someone else's religion as compared to someone else's belief is, right? And most time, those who share the sum of that same energy by religion, so those time, those are they're easier to like alternate with, or how can I say, not easier to alternate with, but um, when someone find out that they have that same religious system, I would say they're more frugal with the idealization of being flexible, of something or someone not being exactly as them by personality trait or liking and doing, but they'll be a lot more tolerable because the religion aspect is accepted, right? As compared for most people, you ain't getting a chance like that. Like for most other people, if they're not in your, I guess you can say, circle in that aspect, which is what religion makes people. It's like a group, right? It's a part of your circle, right? So yeah, when that person's not a part of your circle like that, they don't they don't they don't enjoy or accept differences as much, and that to me is where religion is destroying. Not what am I saying? Religion itself is the issue and the destroyer of world love. We don't have peace. We don't have tranquility. I can admit because it's religion. It's all because why can I say that is that every, like for example, you hear about the New World Order, right? We hear this shit time and time again. But think about the religion aspect for all religion. They want to transverse that person and tell that person, your job now, your calling to God, or your job for God is to connect for more people. So when you think about it, naming the one religion that their job or their biggest thing is, sorry, or their biggest thing isn't recruiting. Name me the religion that don't care about recruiting. Name me the religion that's only okay with whoever comes, they come. Name me the religion that's not backed up with some financial idealization of growing or making, having a power source from that, right? So you tell me the religion that don't want to be the number one religion in the world, then I'll tell you that's the world religion. So all religion have this fucked up mindset when it comes to derailing us as people, because as people they understand that we separate, divide and conquer. It's the simplest way that you can get the people over and over and over. So blow a kiss, a fire gun. I need someone to leave. You know what I'm saying? Like the idealization that our society know we need, we're dependent on units, like the numbers of people, the places and things to survive, right? We all need something or somebody to lean on from that aspect. So they lean on that scarcity stage of all human, that frightening stage of being alone that most humans are drawn, or just naturally the curiosity that our spirituality brings within us, within our own self, right? the curiosity of what is said or done, naturally, if you're an intuitive person, you're gonna curiously be in question of that, right? That make you want to outsource more information based on what other people are saying, right? And if you're not intuitive, you're naturally going to follow, right? So it's a damn if you do, damn if you don't situation. I think the biggest thing that's assessed for me in all this throughout this conversation is, again, it's the propelment of what or how powerful love can be. You know what I mean? Because the power of love is, it's almost certain that, like, it gravitate the diversity that we get as human beings, the diversity of whether we come from, where we located from, things like that. It is as, but it doesn't matter to the, it's not bigger, I would say, than the overall human experience of loving to purely love, appreciating to purely appreciate, right? Love is respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, love is knowing that, like, it's not for me, but I respect it as is, right? And that's what I think becomes a problematic circumstance with our society, is that we see love for only the benefits of what we love. We don't appreciate love for the actuality of being love for its purest form. We must get something in order for us to love that, right? That love must make us feel a certain way, right? But in all actuality, whether something impacts you or it doesn't, it's still a part of life. It's still a part of this earth realm, right? So that's kind of what I wanted to break down this conversation down to, which is that simple that ending perspective, which is you can't just throw away everything else in life that you feel like doesn't work for you. It's not to say that you have to. Again, I think admiration, joy, caring for something is something that clearly says you're impacted. Like, it's a one-on-one love from the idealization that, like, that's your person, that's your thing, right? But at the end of the day, that one person or that one thing doesn't define the whole world. And that's what I mean by that. It's like, yeah, I don't have to be the best friend to this man, this race or that race, but I do know that they exist, and I do have the respect value for all of them for their individual ways. I have the best skin in the world because it's my skin. I have the best face in the world because it's my face. Everything that I say is the best for me because it's mine. I can claim to be. I think that's not an issue. That's not being big headed. That's not what's the other word I'm looking? Uh, um, Cockiness or stuck up or anything like that. That's self preservation, self caring. It becomes cockiness. It becomes arrogance when I say my skin is the best. Nobody got skin like me. Look how dirty everybody else's skin, right? The moment I appoint, when I appoint negativity to my surrounding, that's when I'm arrogant. I'm being negative, right? But if I'm just confidently uplifting myself without having to belittle anybody else, that's the norm. But our society teaches us we can't express love without polarizing the negativity that hate exists with. And that's the stupidest shit to me, because it's like you don't need to give hate credit to showcase love. You know what I'm saying? You don't need hate to experience love. Naturally, like it's naturally, like, when you think about the thin line, right, between love and hate, it can be just simply as that. But at the end of the day, it's still as whatever you acclaim something to be. It doesn't have to set forward to anybody else's views or dues. And that's what more of my viewership and my conversation is about. Gray, the duality, love, the unity, power. Power is the understanding that 1 plus 1 equals 2. Power is the understanding that this way didn't process me better. Let's try the other way. Power is acknowledging. Power is ownership, right? Taking that accountability. So if we can make anything to be unconditional as we want it to be, if we can alter our surrounding based on our liking, the best thing or the most important thing I think we should start off with is figuring out what, if there is to be a religion for the world, what would it? What would it be? And the only answer to that would be the world religion of love. You see, love doesn't ascend to how you spell it. Love doesn't care how you define it. Love is something that we all need, right? Because even some people, their worst action is because they want some sort of physical, mental, or spiritual love by or satisfaction by someone, by people, places, or thing, right? So naturally, even hate has something that it loves that it want to generate from or towards. That's just the nature of our society, of our beings as people or as entities, however you want to claim yourself, right? Hate needs love. Love don't need hate. But hate really, really, really needs love. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta understand with the intention that we drawn upon this life, when you hear about that term utopia or nirvana, I guess you could say, right? It's the mental state of being love and doing love in your existence. It's not the controlling of. Again, why are we so negative at times towards each other? We're taught we're taught that. We're taught that. Kids showed you, and this is a double conundrum because you get some kids too. They assholes. But for me at least, I know to a certain aspect, them kids sometimes that are early assholes get they get some sort of uprising that condition them to say, "Oh, it's okay to be asshole." It's for at least them people make it's seemingly funny to them that a kid is so bad, right? So now that kid can ascend that energy and think it's okay, it's okay. But what I'm saying with that statement is that majority of kids, they show you the nirvana, the utopia of life. It's the fact that majority of us bad comes into our life the older we get and the experiences that we get that makes that hurt person becomes that person that hurt the next person. It's not it's not that we're born again, like I said, there's some bad kids out there. So I'm not making a 0% statement. I'm just making a factual statement, which is that think about when you even in elementary, kindergarten, those times, majority of you as people now who were kids then had no idealization of race. You saw people as to be people. You knew differences little by little, right? Every months and year that goes on to your life, you start, oh, okay, I'm on this side of it. Okay, I like, so you start differentiating, and differences are what separates that nirvana utopia for most kids, which is love. That's all they knew at the time. Love, it's joy, it's happiness. Laugh, cry, laugh, cry. You know what I'm saying? Sadness. They don't know nothing about. this idealization of hate until we as the adult give them those experiences, whether it's through abuse of self, whether it's through neglection. So many tumultuous perspective that goes into that child life that factor to why hate is presented. It's so it's easier to be bad than good. Why? Right? But good as love requires discipline. Love requires you being affirmative, being in tune with yourself. Or religion. Love is as the first and only as to be the ending and completion to any religion. Self love, best love. The only way we can unite or reunite to a world love. Thank you for your time and your appreciation. By overstanding in my understanding, we get to an understanding prosperity power to your livelihood in every second to every minute of every hour. May you affirm, visualize, and manifest the life that you into the progression of giving societal alignment to your spiritual succession of your worth and values in your action and doing and being. So as you look into the mirror, just know the greatest version is upon you, based on to you of what you view and see.